right, here we are with Broken Worlds, Exalted, Skeleton Keys, Episode 5. It is May 2018, and I am Devin, the referee. To my left, we have X playing Y.
Nicole playing Tepet Burrell.
Kevin playing Poison Orchid.
All right, Exalts, what happened last session?
We delved into the labyrinth and dealt with the Nephrak that was gaining power down there.
Yes, you slew and fumigated Milion, a Nephrak tied deeply to the element of Earth. That's basically it.
Yeah. We investigated and we looted.
Yes. Such is the way of things.
Mm-hmm.
The Hungry Ronin have been soundly dealt with. The nuisance of their base has been cleansed, and you are free of obligation to this problem. So, what would you two like to do in Ten Gods Mountain this session?
We would like to return the merchandise to the people, so the Monopede company.
Mm-hmm.
Have her name written down. Copper Monopede.
Coppermina.
Copper Mina. There we go. Then after that, I think we're going to be trying to bolster the Exchange Consulate.
Yeah, the Exchange Consulate. Doesn't your aunt have like a in with them, or she deals with them, or is she
She's
her own?
part of them. She's like their liaison to other places, I think. Also, though, there's like factions basically within it that are.
Yeah, so we might want to go speak to her first and have her deal with them through her, basically.
Exactly.
And before that, we should rest because I look like a horrible monster, and that's not the best first impression.
Right. You know, you're a champion of the dead and stuff, but I don't know if Coppermina will be able to keep to that when you're looking like some kind of freak.
She was uncomfortable enough as it is,
Right.
and he already looks like a freak.
You all gather up the supplies and treasure and victory looted from the redoubt of the Hungry Ronin and make your long way up Ten Gods Mountain sloped, carved stone chiseled steps in the ever-present gloom and rain back into the city proper. You looking like a blood-born cleric beast, your procession of war ghosts and abyssal specters, and a living person who is a prince of the earth. People give you all a wide berth. Many figures in long funeral robes and some wearing clothes meant to mirror the Quicklands. Give aside. They all have paper and wood umbrellas that they're holding close and over them to keep the rain off as you ghoulishly proceed down the street in almost like a funerary march, full of grave goods and covered in the signs of violence.
Marching that gigantic sword along.
It's not as big as actual like dye weapons. It's a great sword. So it's big by normal sword standards, but this is a world where dye weapons exist. The weapons of the gods.
Did we take the sarcophagus? Do you want it?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, because it's cool, so
Yeah,
decorate your place.
So it literally looks like an actual funeral procession, including the giant sarcophagus
Yeah,
at the back.
which looks off.
Yeah, the sarcophagus is sturdy enough that it held together after the thrashing you gave Milion. And you head back to your chalet, your base, such as it is. The gang there and the gang you brought and the gang that you left behind group up. People are hooting and hollering and screaming. People are breaking plates against the wall. People are getting high off the passion of the victory. And, being rowdy.
Mm-hmm.
Being careless, being, swingy.
Orchid takes a key from within his robes to the liquor cabinets of this place and hands them off to one of his more trusted lieutenants. you know what to do with this.
What is this, Lieutenant? Is this one of the normal people? Is this a specter? Is this a Nephrak?
It's probably one of the normal people.
Okay. Yeah, he grabs it and kind of just gives out a yeah. And they go and start distributing good spirits.
Yes.
Such as it is.
I will also gesture to some of the people I got from my Diamonds of the Rough ability, my Brainier members. Have them fetch their abacuses, and we're going to decide who can afford what losses as far as these companies go for what we're going to keep and what we aren't.
Very good, my sovereign. Your smarter men, they wear, if they don't wear masks, their clothes have like a smock or a pin or a badge they've embroidered on with the markings of the Midnight Mark. Like, it's a mask with the Midnight Mark on it, but it's also in the shape of Ide Seven Despair's iconic mask. That bird-headed heater shield mask with the eyes carved into it. But it looks like it's been carved, and then afterwards the whole thing's been blotted with that black Midnight Mark.
Yeah, the smarter ones are probably the ones I deign to explain the nature of, Death Lords to.
There's not really a nature of Death Lords to explain. They're not really so structured that way.
Yeah, and not so much that, so much as, this is something that I serve that's above me.
Your master, your teacher,
Yeah.
your Sifu.
The ones below that don't need to know and probably don't care, but, the smarter ones. Let's be generous. But, well, we do deserve a cut.
We will take all the cuts we can take, and some from the back, and we'll give more than they deserve. In the context of cuts. And like someone hits someone in the face with a bottle and opens up their mouth with the jagged end.
Guys are crazy.
Doesn't really hurt them, and, death marks. They love feeling alive, and getting into violent, horrific fights is one of the ways they express it. Bleed off some of that spite. But it sounds like you two would like to take some time to decompress.
Yes.
Yes.
So we will take 2 actions I think we discussed before. A rest and a train. So let's look at the rest action, which I, of course, did not add to the sheet. Let me pause. So, listeners, we took a quote-unquote rest, in which the party consolidated their stuff, fixed their armor, healed their wounds, which no one had, and rejuvenated stamina, and just reset abilities. So, Orchid, you uncleric beast yourself and contain your form back into your normal human abyssal frame, and realign things, but you did roll a 9, so one of the 2 minor hits, like misses happened, which was, you personally did not profit from the adventures you and your gang went on. The gang is fine, the people are going to get their stuff back, but you find that you overextended yourself and your men took too big of a cut, and you just can't bring yourself to take it back from them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine.
Yep.
And now we're going to move into a training. So, this training montage, what are you guys going to do to sharpen yourselves?
Orchid has an idea. He approaches Burrell. Would you mind a stroll back into the woods with me?
Sure.
Excellent. He'll fetch a pair of umbrellas and just go without his gang out into the woods, back to the monastery.
I mean, I can take you, so...
And back down to the basement, to the opening into Oblivion.
Oh, God.
I don't want to go down there.
We needn't go down there. I would simply suggest we meditate upon its nature, and perhaps you will come to an accord. Just for a while.
Alright.
So you two want to meditate on the nature of entropy?
Yeah.
Essentially.
That's cool.
I'm not putting my back to it, though.
You're not in the mouth, you just at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Alright. So, let's do a train. I'm going to spend a few hours down here. Okay, first thing that happens, mark experience.
I have a question.
What?
Where in the book do I find this resting and thing that we're doing now?
I can't show you it right now because we're just in the middle of it. So, do you mark your experience?
We had one from...
All right. Now you both take a power die. So now you both have 2. And now, if you have experience equal to your level plus 3, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How much do you have in total?
7.
You reduce it by your level plus 3, which would be 5. So that means you have 2 left over.
Mm-hmm.
And you would go up by 1 level to level 3. Which means the level 3 bonus happens, which we'll reference in a second. And you get another new move.
Oh boy.
Which we can pick now or later. It's not that important.
Mm-hmm. What can you gain when you level up? It's an advanced martial arts, a move, or...
Advanced martial arts, a move from your advancement playbook, or a cross-playbook ability. There's also something that happens now that you've hit level 3, but I'll get to that in a moment, so we'll just put a pin in that. Now, this is the important part. You each can choose 1 or 0 of the following 4 options. We went over them the last time we did training, so we're going to pause now and go over them in the background, listeners, and come back. BRB. All right, and we're back. So, in the training, you guys leveled up to level 3, you increased your stats by 1, you got a new proficiency. What was the new proficiencies you guys took?
I took the cross-class ability, Fashionista.
Ah, yes, your move.
Yes, so...
The proficiency was empty-handed. That's what I was asking about.
Sorry. Yeah, the proficiency is unarmed.
Perfect, and you?
I took a 2nd level of empty hand, so I have the flourish where I can disarm people.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right, and yes, what moves did you take?
Again, the cross-class one, Fashionista, which is part of the refined play sheet.
Refined is an interesting play sheet. I don't know what I would ever do with it, but I see why it exists.
Yeah, that was going to be the second one I chose if I didn't choose the hunger.
It's all about illusions and seduction and fucking
and
with
magic.
people. And magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a different take on hunger. Like hunger and refined exist in the same kind of space.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now you have weird powers based on wearing nice clothing and fighting with it. And it gives you your heat instead of body or mind, so you're much deadlier in combat now.
Yeah, you don't want to look on the inside of his robes now. That's where all the horror comes from.
But now you're dressed up like a king.
Mm-hmm.
Fine clothing, decadent. And what'd you take?
I chose the Panther School technique, which empowers a different move called Close Eyes and Still Hearts when I have no time to survey the targets. Also, it means I never make noise unless I specifically want to.
Perfect.
No matter what I'm doing. So...
Perfect. So, you guys trained and leveled up. What did you choose for each other for training? We'll start with Kevin.
I chose that Burrell would have a breakthrough in her training or understanding.
And that was...
I think it basically understood the nature of oblivion more. And something, that's what means I can be quiet all the time. I don't know how to word this.
You got a breakthrough with Oblivion that makes you stealthy.
Yes. Understand the absence of things more.
Mm-hmm. And Nicole?
I chose for Kevin, he came, I don't know the exact wording in the thing, but basically he has an opportunity to gain more power.
Mm-hmm.
Or influence, I think is what it says. So, yeah.
Yeah. It says power or influence. So,
yeah. And what we discussed for that
was essentially, since we came back here, we found something we'd missed the first time. Information on one of the trade guilds or companies.
I actually have something for that. The Musicians Guild.
There's a Musicians Guild?
Yes, obviously. There's hundreds of guilds. In Ten Gods Mountain, had paperwork. Like they had letters and stuff in one of the possessions that was stolen. And in it, it detailed one of their members tracking down an occult artifice that they are going to use to rise themselves to prominence. It is a Book of the Dead, bound in human flesh, inked in human blood.
Fuck you.
Dead.
Obviously, I don't know this because you got it, but oh my god.
He would share it with you.
Okay.
There's even like sketches of it and stuff. It doesn't look like the Necronomicon,
Okay.
but it looks like there are sketches of its cover and its imprintings and its writing and stuff.
It does not sound like something that should be in the hands of a mere spirit.
Also, there's sketchings of some of the writings.
Yeah.
Is there anything that either of us would recognize? Specifically him, because he's a dead guy?
You, because you got education in Blessed Isle.
I did.
Like, you went to actual Realm Dynasty schools because you're dragon-blooded.
Yes.
That is definitely not stuff that relates to necromancy or the underworld. All those writings are demonic in nature. They're Malthian.
Found what they think is the Book of the Dead.
Yeah, from what you can decipher based on your understanding of like anathemic languages and treatises on dark sorcery, it is a instructional manual imbued with the essence of a demon. Like you can tell by the way the skin's made and stuff that it's a demon that's bound up into book shape that would open a crack into Malpheus.
Okay.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
No.
Though being able to open up a, optional gate to Malpheus would be super useful.
But these assholes aren't going to know how to do it right. They think it's a Book of the Dead.
It's made with dead flesh. Of course it's for the dead.
So, we should stop that.
We should. I will have my people look into it.
Alright. So, what do you want to do now that you're doing your training? Like, what is your actions?
I think we should speak with the Exchange Consulate.
Yes.
Alright. So you're going to head down, speak to your grandmother.
Yes.
What is your grandmother's name?
Tubbit Thorn.
There you are.
I mean,
Oh.
I probably know her real name, but
That's not
that's what
her
we call
name.
her. Yeah.
That's not her name. The Exchange Consulate. It is built into one of the foundational structures of Ten Gods Mountain, one of the original buildings that was set up once it became a proper trade town. It is a sort of coliseum, actually. Bowl-shaped with sloping stadium seats, an arena floor, but it's been walls have been erected inside, cubicles, building kind of like little housing structure to house an office. And the many rows and gladiator arena stuff has been also boxed off and turned into vaults and storage areas. So like you have to go in and then go on the outside periphery, and it's pretty well guarded. It also allows them, because of the various like Roman Colosseum style arena storage space, to house the many debtors and near specters that they keep on hold for usury.
Oh boy. Oh.
Hundreds of souls. The building has been marked with red clay in between its stone construction to kind of highlight it and give it some color. So basically, as it constantly rains and the clay's been properly fastened into the stoneworking, when you're coming near the building, the water running away from it, instead of being that kind of gauzy, milky white plaster, it's instead this kind of slow, sludgy moving red like blood. Like coagulated blood pumping out of the Exchange Consulate, invigorating the city with its lifeblood of currency. Though, as of late, the consulate has not been doing well, and its arteries are hardening, and its life-giving monetary essence is quickening and turning to sludge.
Oh boy.
Yeah. There are people in armor and on war animals like dead horses and rhinos and bison that patrol the area. There are cages hung out that are stuffed full of ration skeletons, those lizard crows. Not even living ones, just skeletons, reminders of them that if people get too close or if people are trying to look like they're trying not to be seen, the skeletons start rattling and clicking and making hissing, screeching sounds.
Nice.
There is a sigil in Old Realm, well, not Old Realm, more like Dragon Tongue, the language of the shogunate, that's been carved in brass that's long since kind of tarnished, embedded in the gateway over the arena. The previous call sign of this arena before it became, a currency exchange was "Blood fuels the spirit of community."
That's a good, that's awesome.
The new slogan that was instituted for the consulate was "Wealth beyond avarice." And there are sort of small shrines built around this place too, burning pedestals with markings to, various guild-like entities. The spirits of the guild up top would commune with that the exchange has sort of picked up on as members have flowed in and out, including a not insignificant, but not very big shrine to Plentimon, the Lord of Gambling.
Huh.
I forgot that was his name. I always think of fucking Digimon when you say that.
Plentimon Shrine is what looks like a baptismal font full of... It looks like they fill it regularly with wine, and the bottom is littered with double-headed coins, one side scarred up, and carved dice.
I guess we should ask someone to speak to my grandma.
You don't have to ask him to speak to your grandma. You're Exalted.
I just walk in. Okay.
Yeah, you just walk in. It's the Exchange Consulate. It's a public place.
So you're a living person, so that probably gives you...
You have a palpable aura that attracts the dead.
I just latched onto you.
People are attracted to you because you're alive. They feed off of it. Emotions. Life.
Alright. Well, yeah, we'll go up to her office.
Her office is one of the, it looks like it would be like a senatorial booth that would overlook the arena itself, and it still does. It still has like salt impregnated glass overlooking the floor below. A lot of the buildings look like they've been closed up and shut down or used for storage. It looks like the consulate's kind of lost a lot of staff over time, or just doesn't quite have as much thoroughfare as it used to. Her office is full of scrolls and bound tablets and books that sort of just look like they're keeping accords of things. There's a map easel that is just stacked with maps and routes on them, made of that kind of gauzy reed parchment paper and stained with clay-made ink. Like they'll take clay and kind of grind it up into an ink to smear on to make maps. Materials are hard to come by in the Shadowlands.
Especially with all the upheaval that made a lot of the routes closed up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Tabit Thorn is a woman. She's older, and looks like she's a patrician. So she aged in a way that is less graceful than her Exalted siblings.
Because she was right, she's a patrician.
Yeah, she was mortal.
Oh boy.
Her skin, though, is ashen and sooty the way most ghosts are, like she just came out of a fire or an explosion. She doesn't have any death marks on her, and she is wearing clothing that would be fit for basically easy traveling, like stuff that isn't too confining, stuff that isn't too form-fitting, just, like almost like a poncho, like something just for being out in the rain and stuff.
I was going to say the equivalent of grandma's pants.
Not really, just more, I don't want to say adventuring gear, but basically adventuring gear, like loose-fitting traveler's stuff. Like she's always heading out and stuff, so yeah. She looks like she's more equipped for the elements than a lot of other of the spooks that you see moving through the city. Yeah. How tall are you? Are you taller than average? Shorter than average?
I never gave it much thought. I don't know if I've said something in the past. I'm going to just say average.
All right. Thorn is tall, probably taller than you remember, or maybe exactly as tall as you remember, knowing her when you were a child.
Fair.
Yeah, she gets up out of her desk, like she was on a desk chair, basically doing map tracing with like a compass and whatnot, and Saxton, and gets up. Ah, grandchild, you've returned with your friend. And she comes up and gives you a hug.
Yay, grandma hug.
Grandma hug. How come in?
It is good to see you again, Patrician Thorn.
Yes. Yes.
I don't actually know if we had a plan coming here. We're just like, hey, give us a quest, essentially. Like, I don't...
I mean, we brought all the goods. They're in the cart
right, we
inside.
have the stuff from the exchange that would have been stolen. Yes, we recently dealt with the Hungry Ronin,
Dealt with?
sent them on their way, and took
Sent
back
them
all
on their
goods.
way.
Less metaphorically than you might think.
Ah. Perfect.
Yes, and we are returning the goods they stole from the consulate.
Excellent, thank you. This will smooth over some of our more pressing issues now that we're able to make our proper deliveries. We need those materials. They were goods coming in from one of the satellite afterlives to balance out a debt. We're hoping to keep confidence with their local bank.
Yet you still appear to be having issues. The very nature of this building reflects it. Might we be of further assistance?
The other satellite afterlives, our neighbors, are getting more difficult to get clear connections to. There are new ones forming and old ones sealing up, but we haven't been able to navigate them properly. It's been a long time since we've had a proper ferryman to guide the way.
We have met someone recently with such ability, though unfortunately it does not
The
appear
demon.
they will be around long. Yes.
No, the demon will not be acceptable.
He seemed a little...
Unpredictable, and we need someone more set to remain here.
The demon cavorts with the criminal element of the city. They are not worth the investment.
What happened to the old one?
The original ferrymen that we once employed were swallowed up in the conjunction, and the remaining struck off to start their own smaller scale businesses. Treasure divers and people looking to breach into other afterlives on a hope of an easy score.
Perhaps we could search the Titanic. Many refugees hole up there. We may find one proficient in what we need.
It's possible. We used to use other means to facilitate travel between the outlying provinces. Once the guild hired soothers and processionists, great funerary marches to calm the spectral beasts and the hungry ghosts in between our realms.
Why is that no longer an option?
Much of the towns split apart, moved on, some more literally than others. And it's a commitment. It takes time to move between realms for a caravan. Many of them don't want to commit to that.
Perhaps we could look into ways to clear the pathways, make them safer for travel without the need for employees.
That would be ideal. I've been told of ways in the Skinlands, our guild contacts that I've been speaking to a woman who recently came in. She used to be a factor for the guild, merchant prince. They had various blessings and sorcerous instruments that protected routes.
I can't imagine it too difficult to set something up like that again.
We would need a sorcerer. We would need someone who's exalted. A champion of the secrets.
I mean, I should have just taken geomancy again.
It's not quite the same.
A champion of the secrets, is she implying like a sidereal? Or
I don't think she even knows what that is.
Oh, really? I thought
Is she,
they...
okay. Is she meaning something specific then? Like, is that a phrase?
Well, she's trying to kind of piece together, like, we need someone who lives and breathes that sort of thing, not someone who just knows sorcery.
I could
Like
reach...
an Eclipse cast?
You're thinking Twilight, but your heart's in the right place.
Bitch, Twilight was the crafters.
Twilights are sorcerers, crafters, occultists, sages, lore masters, investigators. They do a lot more than crafting.
I mean, that just sounds like
Nonsense.
that's just a theory.
I could reach out to my own circle, see who is about. Additionally, well, this is the underworld. People do come and go.
I've heard rumors that there is someone like that in the city, but none of us dare approach them.
It would be easier for someone who is kin to approach them, I imagine. Someone exalted.
Yes, no one here wants to engage with any of the dark messiahs of the Underkings.
I just now got who we're probably talking about, even though I should have got it like fucking scraplets all over again.
Orchid's just kind of leaning forward with his chin on his folded hands, or during all this. Indeed. A name, and we will seek them out.
No one knows its name. It's a dead child.
A child. Then a location will do.
In the there's a quarter of the city that deals in salvage and ancestor shrines. They seem to be holed up in the rotting fuselage of some look-shying abomination.
I know the area well enough.
Seek out the dead child. Perhaps they can make our routes more reliable, though I don't know at what cost. The favors traded between the princes of the earth and the princes of the dead are beyond the scope of our operation on the best of days.
Very well.
She means the Titanic, though, right? What? Right?
No, she's talking about something else.
Where is she talking about?
Just a part of the city
Okay.
that you know about because you live here.
So like, she's just talking in mysteries instead of naming names.
You don't.
Yeah, I didn't want to make up a
here.
fake name for the part of the city.
Yeah, but I thought it was like going to be one of these places. So I was like, I don't know what she could be
Yeah.
by this.
No. Those places are ruins that are full of danger and trouble. This is not. The city's a big, breathing city. There's thousands of locations in it. There's tea places and bars and dojos and factories and stuff and chapels. Those 4 places are just cool things. Alright, you're going to go seek out a dead child.
Yes.
Whoop.
Boss?
Alright, we're back. Okay, so you guys leave the Exchange Consulate and make a trip through the city. And knowing kind of where to go, where there are shrines and various places of ancestor worship congregated. This area has a sort of look-shy feel to it. Like the buildings look like they were from burned down houses, shattered watchtowers that have been stitched back up, sometimes with actual like suturing in the structures to hold their shape and remain together without sinking into dull loss of memory. And in this area, there is a skyship. Its hull looks like a white whale, maybe an adolescent one that was made of wood and differently colored steel and stained glass on its stomach to help it sort of focus light and repel it off the ground. And it's shattered, its spine and body broken up against the streets of the city, and with buildings and small little sort of sheds built into the side of it to convert it into a place people work. There doesn't seem to be a lot of movement around it. There's not a lot of lights on, such as they are in the city. And you can kind of tell from just appraising how it's been treated that not a lot of people are walking by it anymore. It's given a sort of wide berth. Some spook or ghost has left markings on signs nearby, like fence posts and the walls with that sort of half-sun mark that's to be associated with certain types of sorcerers.
Sounds about right.
You know the mark well. You've met Exalts working for your master that bear the mark on their brow.
Mm-hmm. Convenient of them to mark it out for us.
Right. So, you don't know them?
I don't know. I could very well. Not very many children often become champions of the dead, but...
Okay. I guess we're going in.
Mm-hmm.
The main entrance looks like it was a gun port of sorts, or an archer port, like one where it would slide back and archers would fire out from. It's cracked open kind of like an eggshell, and it's been bolstered with clay and metal brackets and bits of what look like polished gemstone have been kind of accentuated into the frame. The door itself looks almost like an iris. It's made of leaves of wood and iron that are folded in on themselves, that look like they would open up like an eye.
Okay. Easy enough to open, I guess? Or...
Yeah, you just grab the outside of the ring and spin it, and it just opens.
Okay.
Should we knock?
Is there a bell or anything, or is it just...
Yeah, there's a small gong that's been like hanging from the side, kind of just on threaded bits of chain, and underneath looks like a small shrine structure that people have left alms, like bits of coin, bottles of wine. There's like flowers from the skinlands that have been left pressed in sheets of gauzy paper. People have been leaving like tokens for this person.
I'll just wrap two knuckles against the gong.
It makes a shrill, echoing sound that reverberates around, and you can kind of tell the atmosphere in the area changes. People have, like when they saw you approaching, they started to leave, and once that sound starts, people have kind of just exited view. You two and your gang.
Yeah. I probably brought the Nephrax along this time as a show of power, because dealing with important people here.
Fair enough. Eventually the iris opens up, and a man, he looks like he's a ghost. He is wearing a butcher's smock that has stains on it, and a fairly plain face, kind of just opens the iris and comes to the threshold.
We wish to speak with your master.
Who wishes to speak to my master?
I am Poison Orchid, and this is my companion.
Tepid Burrell.
The living.
Smiles a bit.
Who, though?
We are representing the
Exchange Consulate at the moment.
I will tell my master then. He just kind of leaves the threshold. Eventually he comes back. You may come into the parlor.
Duck on in.
He's like eyeing you and the specters, and you get the feeling he doesn't quite understand that you're exalted. Like it's not obvious to him.
That's perfectly fine.
Quite uneducated.
Your cast mark's not out. You have aspect markings, but you could just be alive.
And that's actually fair. Some people that aren't
People just have aspect markings.
do like family breeding. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's fair.
He obscures most of his face, so you're not going to see the symbol.
Well, the symbol isn't like on your skin. It like can hologram in front of your brow, no matter what you're wearing.
Oh, right, it's a thing.
It's
just there's like a flaw you can take, so it's always visible, and all of our characters took it in that other game.
Right.
Because we're like, that's not a flaw.
I think it wasn't even like a flaw in X3. It was just like I want this to always be on.
Yeah, like in the original,
The second edition one.
older ones, it was a flaw you could take, and we're like,
Lord, too much of a nightmare. Flaws, point by. Yeah, the parlor looks like this is a sort of airlock that's been built around this archer hole. It has benches. There are bowls and towels and kind of racks to kind of clean yourself before entering. There's a kettle. It looks like it's made of iron and stone mixed together. It's hot, and there's been like cups with tea leaves left behind.
okay. Whatever is normal to do in this situation. I'm assuming we can just sit down and make our tea while we're waiting. Okay.
Yep. About an hour's gonna go by.
Talk about show of power.
He established dominance.
No, he's not. Poison Orchid just kind of stands up after a while. He's like,
What's a
well,
while to you?
5 minutes.
5 minutes is a while. It's too much.
Yes.
That's the context we would need here.
After 5 minutes, he stands up. He's like, come on.
Okay.
The interior door is a simple square arch that has a curtain drawn across it.
So push that out of the way.
You are inside the bowels of a skyship. The interior's been cleared out. There's tables and hanging parts. Lots of scaffolding made of kind of simple, almost like a plywood left around, and earth, like not the ashy kind of grave earth of the underworld, but actual like soil, like from creation, is in boxes, like open top boxes, and there are things growing everywhere. Small saplings. There are candles giving off real fire. There are mushrooms and saplings and flowers and vines and mosses. This place has the air in here doesn't smell like kind of the stale wind of a tomb that you're used to always. Mm-hmm. It smells like it's air, like real air.
Well.
A botanist. This is
Unexpected.
exceedingly unusual, even down here. I've tried similar things, but I simply don't have the hands necessary to maintain such things. I guess we'll just keep exploring.
Near the back, there is a upper level. Like there are stairs and what looks like an old tube that would have had a lift to bring you up, but that's been replaced with just a spiral staircase. And you guys go topside?
Sure, yeah.
The top side looks like a sort of a cross between a meat cutter's, like a butcher's area, like a professional butcher's area, and a seamstress's house. Like there is tanned leather and gauzy material. There are spinning wheels that are full of what looks like the corpus of like ghosts spun onto it, giving off slight twists and turns, and even every once in a while a slight kind of moan or chill, like the actual thread itself gets goosebumps on it and swells up, like it's made of people.
Is this something that, like, the Candles Makers Guild? Like, is this the same kind of stuff that they would do, or is it different?
Different.
Okay.
It looks like someone pulled the thread on a ghost and just pulled them apart. There's like cured armor that's been kind of shaped into cured leather that's been shaped into like a cuirass on a like dressmaking mannequin. And when you catch sight of kind of the more polished parts of the resin in the leather, you can sometimes catch a face in it, or maybe scenes from creation, like just like a meadow, or sometimes what looks like an executioner's block. And there is someone in the middle of this room kind of working away. They are assembling, they have a table in front of them, and they are putting down mahjong tiles that are made of bone. You can tell instantly they're made of bone and inlaid with various metals. And it's a large, complicated pattern made of 5 distinct segments, like bricks, that interrelate to each other. It's almost like an elemental wheel, but made of cubes, made of smaller cubes. The figure is probably shorter than either of you by a fairly good degree. They are dressed in a large, it would look like an old diving suit, basically. Like, not the big metal helmet, but like the actual like leather with like collaring around the rings, valving around the elbows. At hinge points, like hinge points, basically, it's been like reinforced, and the head itself kind of almost looks like a bird, like it's or maybe like if you were to take a pig and pull the skin off and turn that into like a hood, and like the snout had like a large kind of that thing you use to like stoke a fire.
Bellows?
A bellows, yeah. The nose has been turned to a sort of bellows and kind of goes in and out and makes smoke come out of it.
Picturing an anteater nose?
Kind of like an anteater nose, actually, yeah. But it's like all like leather and bellowsed up and like sewn. And just 2 large black round discs where the eyes would be. Like a welding mask of sorts. Yeah, the figure kind of just looks up to you. In front of their foreheads, giving off an anti-light that sort of like makes the candles in the room dim and drag inward towards it, is that same half-sun symbol. It's part of his natural anima of banner that all living things have, but this one burns in a visible way.
I can just activate mine, right? It's I'll do that here then. May we speak?
The head nods, like, in agreement, and moves away from the table, and there's, like, kind of a raised bit, so they're a little shorter than even what their suit gave off. And as they walk towards you, that assistant is standing there and was stunned when you came up and horrified when your mark showed. The suit, one of the hands has, like, each of the hands has only 3 prongs for fingers. And one of them had a pair of kind of almost like forceps scissors, like a little kind of L-shaped scissors that you use to kind of pull things out of the body. As the figure approaches, they kind of move the scissors near that ghost that greeted you and kind of just give him a sharp yank, and he falls apart into like a pile of rope made of ghost. And you hear him like, "No, sir." Imagine this voice is very muffled, like reverberating because of the helmet. My apologies. I did not realize we had guests. And he emphasizes that word.
It's fine.
An error in judgment that cannot be repeated.
May we speak somewhere more comfortable? Your lounge, perhaps?
He starts walking to a door near the steps. And just sort of, like, he doesn't like wave you on, but he just has an arm out that says, "Follow me." This area is a bare room that's been tiled with wood, like actual Hearts hardwood, like very lively and strong kind of material. Each bit of the wood has been aligned to its mate's grain perfectly, so it looks like it's coming from one large tree, but you can see the dividing lines. There is a table. There is a hole cut in the floor for people's legs to go, so they can sit at the table without having to sit down. Like, there's basically a pocket under the table to sit. There are cushions. There is tea. There are hanging lanterns that give off actual light. Yeah, he just gestured for you to sit. The figure goes to the corner of the room and just starts pulling valves open on the suit and pulling at a seam that's on the front and just degloves himself from the entire setup. This Abyssal is a teen, 13 to 14 maybe. Maybe a little younger, it's hard to tell. They are extremely pale and small. It looks like that they've just started to kind of hit that growth spurt that kids do. Long white hair, that cast mark, spectacles that are kind of sitting on his nose, and the outfit they're wearing underneath the suit is sort of a robe that has like flared legs and flared arms, so that you can kind of like fit a lot of stuff in the arm parts, the sleeves. And there are just sigils, inked, or not inked, but like sewn into it, and it looks like a thread spun from ruby material. So it's black and red and gives this kind of weird chromatic kind of look whenever light goes across it, because the black is very matte and absorbs the light. I am the void within, without.
Poison orchid who grows from salted earth.
Tepid Burrell.
He kind of like looks at you, and do you have anything that blocks people from detecting your nature?
No.
He kind of like looks at you appraisingly, basically, almost like he's kind of listening as you talk. You're a prince of the earth.
I am.
He sits down with you.
Given our natures, I am surprised we have not met earlier. Have you been in the city long?
Perhaps a decade. Time is not relevant to my research.
What is it you research here? I've noticed the impressive number of plants outside.
An experiment in transgression. If one brings death to the land of light and honey, is it so much of an act of anathema to bring that same substance to the Shadowlands, to the place of bone and blood?
Intriguing. It seems you've had some success given the glow of life in what you've grown here.
Under very controlled circumstances, it is not as spontaneous as one would hope.
I pity. But then, as you said, time does not matter when it comes to such experiments.
No. The experiment is an idle curiosity.
Unfortunately for what we come here, time is somewhat of the essence. We work with the, holy shit, how can I never remember their name? The Exchange Consulate.
The money lenders.
Indeed.
Although their purpose is much more diversified.
They would be the pillar of a... I don't want to say community. I was trying to think of the word. They would be the pillar of a new colony being deployed if they were more successful. But something's wrong with them. They're failing.
It is unfortunately increasingly noticeable even to the simplest of eyes, which is why we've come here.
So much of what you says sounds so bitchy, and I can never tell if it's on purpose.
He's just stating it's gotten so bad that even the simplest people can
But like,
notice.
he just said he noticed, and you're like, even the simplest people can notice now. It's like, oh boy.
A primary issue right now is the delivery of goods to other such areas like this. The ways are choked with hungry dead.
The dead aren't meant to stray from their afterlives. And this is where their problem will stem from. They're breaking the natural ecosystem.
Something you seem familiar with.
In a abstract sense, yes.
We are hoping to ease this process, however, and you are one with such abilities, from what I understand.
Yes.
What might we do to convince you to aid us in easing the Exchange Consulate's woes?
When I assisted my master in the destruction of the Skinland City of Thorns, I lost something dear to me.
My character did not realize. So he says that her eyebrows legit like shoot up like, oh no.
And I was unable to reclaim this object in the chaos surrounding my master's domination of the living.
Orchid kind of throws the briefest of glances that way.
Can you pause for a second?
Alright, one moment. Alright, we're gonna pause for this.
Okay, so my character's flaw is devotion. What I was conceptualizing that is basically like loyalty to her family above all reason, basically.
I'm gonna throw this child against
So
the
this
wall.
is the problem, because she was sent here on a mission which would help her grandma, but this guy killed her grandma. He killed her! I didn't even consider that. I was like, oh yeah, he killed people in my family, but he killed like legit my grandma. Like,
I'll avenge you, Grandma. And she's like, avenge me by making me money.
I want money!
so I don't know how to work that. Because it's literally like the two things. Like, literally, my grandma's right there, and she said, this guy can help me with the one thing, and he's the only guy I know that can help me with it. But also, like, he totally killed her.
If Grandma knew. You're killing me.
And yeah, she
You're
didn't
killing
know.
your grandma.
She didn't know at the time.
Well, he's saying that he helped with the Siege of Thorns.
He said he helped with the destruction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, he didn't, maybe he didn't, like, literally the one that killed her, but he might have.
Stabbed her in the heart.
And either way, like, he did.
I don't know, Nicole, how do you want to play this?
It's the Mask of Winters. He's basically him. Attack him. Oh, that's brutal, actually.
Okay, I'm actually just gonna roll.
Roll what?
Even numbers, I'm going to keep going with the mission, and probably tell my grandma afterwards and see how she wants to handle this guy. Actually,
that might be the smartest way to play it.
It is the smartest way to play it, but this isn't necessarily the smartest decision. Like, you know, your flaws are supposed to come up in a way that...
I mean, this sounds like the best way for the flaw to come up. Like, I don't want to derail your idea to do something very emotional, but, like, if this was, like, a Game of Thrones type scenario, this might be you being like, oh, I understand. Then going back to your grandma and be like, I have something you need to know about, and then starting to proactively working.
That's fair.
You know, it doesn't
Plus,
have
I
to be a
don't know.
big show of emotion every time.
Alright, fair enough.
Like, all options are available. Do what you think would be fun for the session.
Teacup breaks in her hands.
Then again, if you do want to do something drastic, that'd be a perfect cliffhanger.
No, if it's if an option is to just have a cool
Plot.
head, then that's fine.
Yeah, maybe what you do with that devotion, where the ground is like, we're gonna change this around. We're gonna do something much more drastic. And you're like, yeah, to the detriment of our cause.
All right.
It's up to you.
To the detriment of our cause, could be the title of every single Exalted game we ever play.
Fucking Christ. Yes.
I mean, some of us got everything we ever wanted.
Anyway.
So you were gesturing or looking at me or something.
He just kind of glanced over just to see the reaction.
She's just like, oh my god.
Do go on.
There was significant upheaval in the afterlife around Thorns and the ensuing combat. There was resistance, there were battles in the streets, there was the arrival of my master's procession, such as it was. Visual reference to Juggernaut. It's one of the reasons I came to this city specifically. I wanted to have some time alone to meditate on the nature of oblivion, but also to look around to see if I couldn't retrieve it.
Perhaps we might be more capable of retrieving such a thing.
That would be actually very... That would work. That would be an excellent exchange of favors. A transaction.
Simple enough. What is it that you've lost?
My reality bomb.
Do tell.
It was a device I constructed from schematics and whisperings of ancient ghosts from the underworld. Some my master provided, some I sought out on my own without him knowing. It is a machine, an artifact, a work of sorcery that, when properly activated, pulls apart the threads of the land around it and allows one to shape it to their will.
Interesting.
My personal one, the one that I have been working on the longest since my dark baptism, has gone missing. It was lost askew in the shoals of the underworld and oblivion when thorns fell.
I suppose if it had been destroyed, it would have gone off, and you would have known quite easily.
It's more of a sobriquet than it is a literal name. It is delicate and difficult to master. It has a mind of its own, as all things of this type of construction do.
All right. If you can describe what it looks like, I believe that should be enough for us to go off of.
It is a game board covered in hexagonal squares. He puts his arms out to kind of make like a circle with his arms. Like you could pick it up and, carry it. It is made of solid obsidian interlaced with metal of the dead, smithed from the souls of ghosts, and inlaid with sun metal. Once brought out of its dormancy, pieces will begin to assemble on it, and you are able to challenge it for dominion over the area.
I see. That is sufficient, I believe.
Unless it has any kind of effect on the area around it when it's not active. That might help us locate it. I know many objects of power do.
It's possible. It might have attracted broken things to circle around it. Cultists, worshippers. Such things of power end up attracting a cult of personality around it.
Especially in a place such as the remains of thorns, weak minds would easily stumble across and cling to such things.
It is somewhere in this city. That much I know from my deep connection to it as its master and creator.
Does it have a name?
Yes. The reality bomb.
Oh. It's like an actual name.
It does have an actual name. This is Exalted. Sometimes things are like, I and Seven Despair and several Chasseldry Thuribles. Sometimes it's called Death Laser, which is the name of an actual spell in Solar Circle Sorcery.
That's amazing.
It's that mix between, mythic stuff and sometimes you go a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Lord of Light, Robert Zeleny. Sometimes you go a little bit on the nose, and it's fine. Seek it out, find it for me, bring it back.
We will see to this.
And what did you want in exchange?
Help us find a safe way for the people of the Exchange Consulate to safely travel between afterlives.
Did they,
What?
Did they say that he should know a way to make it so the roads are permanently safer, or would he have to go with them every time?
They knew that he was a rare and exotic resource to reach out to.
Okay.
I have ideas and thoughts regarding this. If one were to remove the intervening distance between 2 points, it would be much easier to cross.
Much.
The Shadowlands are weak and pale reflections of anything of substance. It is not hard to erase such obstacles.
Excellent. We shall discuss this more once we return with the promised object.
I will need maps sent to me of where you intend to go so I can begin drawing up the geomancy for it. For lack of a better term.
That will be done.
Very good. The contract is sealed.
Shall we?
Let's.
You leave the workshop of Void Within Without.
I'm telling.
Then that was one of the Death Knights that you spoke of, yes?
Yes. Let us leave the area.
Yes.
So, back to his chalet.
Back to Grandma's house.
Well, you guys want to talk amongst yourselves. Right?
Yeah, I just meant that he shouldn't be like, so that's the guy that killed your grandma right in front of his house.
No, yeah. So we'll scene swipe back to his chalet before we end the session, and then we'll do the grandma stuff next session.
Yep.
Alright, so you're back at the base.
Then I can't imagine you feel terribly comfortable working with such a being.
Not at all. This is an important mission, but I definitely feel the need to discuss this further with my grandmother before moving forward.
Of course, if it is uncomfortable to you or her, we can of course seek other means, and if you wish, seek justice against one of the perpetrators. It does sound as though he intends to continue such devastation.
Yes, I definitely don't feel comfortable having that kind of weapon in his control, considering.
Another complication, then.
So that's what we shall do. And move forward unless, if my if that's how we're going to do it, I don't see how she would be comfortable with that.
All right, so next session then, you will confront your grandmother, Tepet Thorns, about the Death Knight. The dead child, void within without, and his reality bomb. All right, so let's do the end of session move. Everyone mark experience. All right, first question. Did we fail in some regard?
Again, no.
No. Did you expose yourself to danger, cost, or retribution through your actions?
No.
No, what did we even do this session?
We literally just went to...
You trained,
Yeah, we trained.
and then you talked to your grandmother, and then you met with Void.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, did we progress our story in a meaningful way?
Yes.
I'd say yes.
Yes, definitely. So, 2 XP. All right, that wraps up this session. So, I was Devin,
Nicole?
Kevin?
and this is sponsored by Nobody, signing off.